Well, welcome to our first module of the Do-It-Yourself Divorce. In this module, I'll give you a brief overview of the Self-Help Center on the Minnesota Justice Center website. We'll go over the types of forms available, some of the basic definitions, and the court costs involved. So let's get started. Your marriage is a legal contract, so your divorce needs to end with a contract. And what I'm covering today is what goes into the contract and the steps you need to take to have the court approve that final contract. Now, divorces in Minnesota are actually known as dissolution of marriage. And we're going to use the term divorce, though, just because it's simpler, and it means the same thing. So the first place you need to go is the Minnesota Divorce Self-Help Center. And I've attached the link attached to this materials, and you can find it there and go. And what I want you to know, though, is that there's different types of divorce forms available on that website, and it's based on the specific facts of your marriage. The first one is you're going to see a set of forms that are entitled Summary Divorce. Now, these are only available in limited circumstances, and specifically, they're only available to folks who it's just the two spouses and no children. Neither spouse can be pregnant. It's for spouses only. The marriage has been less than 8 years, and that the parties have no unpaid debts in excess of $8,000, although it does exclude vehicles. And then in addition, though, the gross assets of the parties have to be no more than $25,000, and that includes the net equity on the vehicles. And so if you don't fall into, if you answer no to any of those questions, or yes, that you have, kids and whatever, then it's not going to be suitable for you. And so then the next one, and probably the most common one used for do-it-yourself divorcers, at least that's what you want to do, is the joint petition. And the joint petition simply saves you having to do a summons. And we'll talk about a summons in a minute. So anyway, but just understand, it's only for those parties, though, where there's a complete agreement. And then obviously the next set of forms is for the contested divorces, and that's either with kids or without kids. That's their distinction. But really, the only time you should be doing it is when you have little or few disagreements, and because the more disagreements you have, the more court time you're going to be involving, and it's going to take more time and potentially money in order to get those solved. So those are the types of forms available. Then there's the court fees. Now, the court fees you find at your county court website, and they do differ from county to county, so you're definitely going to want to check out your local county to see what the current court costs are. And just look at say you're in Wright County, and so you're going to do the Wright County website and on court fees. And so just understand, though, that the different court fees that are going to be involved, one is going to be the initial filing fee, and this only needs to be done by the petitioner, especially if the parties have an agreement. It will need to be done by the respondent. They're going to also have to pay it if they want to argue the point. But generally, it's usually the petitioner that has to file the initial court fee for sure. And then there's filing fees if you want to bring a separate motion. And generally in a divorce, what you're looking for is a motion for temporary relief. And we obviously will be going into that. But just understand there is a separate fee for that. And then, but if you can't afford your court fees, then what you want to do is there's forms on the website it's called informa pauperis, and that's the Latin name. And its root is pauper, which, is Old English. And it just means you're broke. You don't have the money to pay the court filing fee. And there's instructions on the website on whether you will qualify for that. And they call it informa pauperis, IFP, or fee waiver. That would be the English. And we're trying to get away from the Latin. So anyway, just look for the fee waiver forms, and they're pretty self-explanatory. They have the instructions on how to do it. And just understand that Even though you might not fall into their income guidelines, if you have enough special circumstances like a huge amount of kids and a lot of debts and stuff like that, you may still qualify. So if you think you do, you may as well just fill out the form and see if the court will sign it for you. So that ends this section. And you notice I've been using terms that I will explain in the definitions section. So let's just move on to the important court definitions.